The sky over Tartarus Reach burned for 7 days. When the Zrath Dominion arrived, their ships came not as conquerors, but as gods come to cleanse vermin. Vast crescent hulls drifted across the black, their weapons speaking in tongues of white fire that boiled oceans and turned continents to glass. The human colony, 6 million souls, families of engineers, scientists, and farmers, had no fleet, no defenses, only a dozen orbital platforms and the quiet faith that peace still meant something in the galaxy. But peace meant nothing to the Zrath. Their High Marshal, Voktaran, watched from his flagship as the colony burned. He spoke to his undercommanders with detached amusement. "Observe them," he said, as human distress signals bloomed across the void. "Even now they plead for aid, as if Earth could hear them, as if Earth would dare answer." The last transmission from Tartarus Reach was a child's cry cut short by static. When the silence came, the Zrath fleet lingered for days, broadcasting victory anthems across the galactic net. Their commanders debated how best to display the humans' shattered world as an example to others who would challenge their rule. Some wanted the planet left as a molten ruin, others to seed the ashes with Zrath banners, so their empire's symbol would hang forever over the bones of humanity. In the end, they did both, and as their fleet departed, leaving behind drifting wreckage and radioactive dust, the High Marshal's final broadcast reached every inhabited system in the quadrant. "Let this be the fate of all who believe Earth's children deserve the stars." Then, they turned away, confident, triumphant, certain the humans were finished. The mockery of Earth for a time, the galaxy echoed with laughter. The Zrath's victory was celebrated in their courts, painted across murals, sung by their priests. The humans, so young, so sentimental, so bound by their fragile morals, had been taught their place. Neutral powers issued statements of regret. The great interstellar councils held hollow sessions filled with empty condolences. No one expected Earth to retaliate. Humanity, after all, was civilized, too soft to fight, too bound by treaties, by conscience, by memories of old wars. The Zrath envoys mocked them openly at the Galactic Assembly. "Your colonies die screaming, and you still speak of diplomacy," one sneered at the human ambassador. "Perhaps that is mercy, for you cannot comprehend vengeance." The ambassador said nothing. Not then. Earth's delegation withdrew quietly from the assembly the following day. Their embassies closed, their transmissions fell silent, and in that silence, the galaxy began to forget. They forgot that humanity had been born from war, that their first steps into the stars were carved from the wreckage of their own world, that the species who burned themselves nearly extinct had learned the art of rebuilding faster, sharper, harder than any other. The Zrath forgot too, and so when the silence finally broke, none of them were ready to hear what came next. The silence before storms. 3 months after Tartarus Reach fell, Zrath, deep space listening posts began to disappear. At first, they blamed system malfunctions, sensor drift, pirate raids, then entire border patrols stopped responding. And then came the message, one that repeated endlessly on every Zrath frequency. "To the Dominion who burned Tartarus Reach, you lit a fire you do not understand. Earth remembers." The message had no source. It came from everywhere and nowhere. Zrath intelligence fleets scoured the void. They found nothing but ruins, ships torn open by weapons that left no heat signature, no trace. When their admirals convened to analyze the threat, the stars themselves flickered. One of their frontier suns dimmed suddenly, as if smothered by shadow. Then came the first visual. A fleet emerging from the dark. They were not sleek like Zrath ships, not ornate nor ceremonial. They were brutal, angular, silent machines of war, steel and fury forged into form. Each one bore a single symbol on its hull, a blue and white sphere encircled by stars. Earth had come, and they brought death with them. When Earth awakened, the Terran Retribution Armada was unlike anything the galaxy had seen in 10,000 years. At its heart, the dreadnought Vigilant Dawn carried the ashes of Tartarus Reach sealed in its forward hull, an offering of remembrance and rage. Its sister ships, Iron Requiem, Saint Vengeance, Sword of the Silent, Halifax's Promise, moved like gods of old come to reclaim the heavens. Every world in Zrath space received the same transmission before the strike. "This is Earth Command. You have 24 hours to evacuate civilian populations. Military resistance will be considered acceptance of judgment." The Zrath laughed again. But when the deadline expired, laughter died. Human ships arrived not by hundreds, but by thousands. Whole constellations flickered as jump portals opened in synchronized precision. Carriers the size of cities deployed swarms of drones that blotted out starlight. Rail cannons the length of mountain ranges spoke in thunder that crossed the void. Zrath defense grids melted in seconds. Orbital stations cracked like glass. Their worlds burned. Not in wanton slaughter, but in meticulous retribution. Every planet that had cheered the massacre of Tartarus Reach received the same fate. Orbital bombardment that carved their propaganda into ash. Zrath Fleet Command tried to mount a counterattack. They launched 3 grand armadas, each more powerful than the last. None returned. Reports from survivors spoke of the ghosts in the dark. Human stealth ships that drifted through black space unseen until it was too late. Of weapons that whispered through vacuum and turned fleets to dust. Of soldiers who landed in storms of kinetic fire, their exosuits wreathed in plasma, their eyes cold and silent as death itself. One captured Zrath officer described them thus: "They do not rage, they do not scream, they arrive, and the world ends." The fire that spoke the war lasted 32 days. In that time, humanity erased 6 Zrath sectors from every star map. Entire shipyards vanished. Planets that once teemed with billions were left barren. No atmosphere, no light, only the drifting echoes of a vanished people. When the High Marshal's flagship was finally cornered near the binary suns of Calaris, the vigilant dawn hailed them. A single human voice spoke. Calm, clear. "High Marshal Vaktaran, you took 6 million lives. You mocked our dead. You believed mercy was weakness. You were wrong." The Zrath fired everything they had: plasma lances, antimatter warheads, gravity imploders. The human ship did not move. When the weapons struck, the vigilant dawn's shields flared white, brighter than a newborn sun, and when the light faded, the human dreadnought still hung there, unbroken. Then it returned fire. The shot did not explode. It simply erased the Zrath fleet. One moment they were there, the next, only drifting atoms remained. The High Marshal's final transmission, intercepted by neutral observers, contained 3 words before his signal dissolved into static. "Death refused us." The galaxy trembles. The war was over. But the galaxy could not comprehend what had happened. Worlds that once feared the Zrath now feared to even speak of Earth. Neutral governments broadcast surrender pacts unprompted, declaring they would never again permit aggression against Terran colonies. Merchants whispered that entire Zrath fleets still drifted in the dark, frozen mid-battle, untouched, as if time itself had bowed to humanity's wrath. Some said they were left there on purpose, a warning. Others claimed to have seen the vigilant dawn itself, orbiting the ruins of Tartarus Reach, standing silent vigil over the glassed plains where it all began. The human government never confirmed its location. They said nothing. They didn't need to. The message was already written across the stars. Never provoke Earth again. Years passed. The Zrath Dominion no longer existed. Its surviving worlds placed under reconstruction, overseen by Terran Command. There was no annexation, no colonization. Only silence, and the quiet rebuilding of what remained. Humanity did not expand its borders after the war. They made no new demands. They asked for no tribute. But their fleets still patrolled the edges of known space, their ships silent and cold as monuments. Every time another species dared to test them, the veterans of the Tartarus campaign whispered a single phrase: "Remember the Reach." Those who heard it did not ask what it meant, because in every shadow of every system, humanity's vengeance still lingered. A reminder carved in glass and steel that there are some fires you do not reignite. And so, the galaxy learned that Earth's patience is vast, that their silence is not surrender, and that when death comes for them, it will find humanity waiting, unyielding, unbroken. For when the Zrath thought our end certain, they forgot one truth: death refused us, and we refused to die quietly.